Hi everyone. So this is my sister Laura. She's come to
Hello.
join me for this video. So last night we went to see the live screening of Romeo and Juliet from Kenneth Branagh's Garrick Theatre, his recent directed production, and so we're going to have a chat about Romeo and Juliet today. So what did you think then, Laura?
I thought it was very good.
Mm.
It could have been brilliant.
Yeah.
But it just fell short of brilliant, which is a shame.
Yeah, I agree.
The things that were really good were Lily James.
Oh yeah, Lee James, brilliant, absolutely amazing.
The actor that played Lord Capulet
Yeah.
was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I like the music. Patrick Doyle did a wonderful job.
Patrick Doyle. He's one of our favourite composers ever.
Yes,
we love Patrick Doyle.
I do.
Let's face it, he's worked with Kenneth Branagh before, hasn't he? So
he has a lot. I loved that.
The set design was quite interesting.
It was, but I thought that the balcony was
a bit short. But then, just so you're aware, Richard, who plays Romeo, he suffered an ankle injury a couple of days before, and they said he's doing it, but they've had to change some things, and we don't know, could that balcony have been shorter so then he was able to start, or what? I don't know.
The thing is,
I don't know.
It was weird because the balcony could almost have seconded for the tomb that she lies on.
Yeah, true.
That might have been what it was, but
yeah.
It how can I put this? Why I didn't like the way that the only time that they were together on the balcony was the scene where Romeo leaves.
Well, no, there was the.
I don't know.
There was. It was when he left after their night together, wasn't it? Yeah.
Maybe I've just been too spoiled by film productions that just put Romeo in the balcony and that's that.
Yeah.
I don't know. The thing that I really wanted was that wonderful chemical thing that they have together.
Yeah, their chemistry.
To be more drawn out, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was kind of rushed, and I feel really disappointed that I'm having to say all these negative points.
Yeah, about something that was going to be like the number one version, hopefully.
Yeah,
and it was rather frustrating that they took out certain scenes, and it kind of felt, the first act, it wasn't too bad, was it, for pacing? And then the second act, it felt like they were going 70 miles per hour in a 30 mile per hour zone. They took so much stuff out, and our priest who helps them out, he literally, you see him with Romeo when Romeo asks him to marry them. They get married, he talks to Juliet, and then he's there to tell the story at the end. He doesn't even come in to find Romeo dead and Juliet's just waking up. So he tries to draw her away, and she gets really angry and pushes him away.
My hair is just horrendous. I'm going to have to tie it up because it just looks ridiculous.
Oh, okay, go ahead. So it kind of like he got reduced to not much at all. It felt very strange in those areas. And let's talk about Mercutio. Because Mercutio was played by Derek Jacobi, who obviously is much, much older than the rest of Romeo.
Sorry, I'm just doing my hair.
Don't worry, let's go with it. It's fun. This is
distracting
live streaming video. It's what happens. So he was much older, and Kenneth Branagh in the introduction explains that he had this great story that stayed with him that he'd heard like decades before, wasn't it? Where these two young guys were in Paris and they were drinking, and they came across this older guy who kind of joined them at the table, and they were getting drunk, and he was telling them all these great philosophy stuff, and they had an amazing night. And they paid for this other guy's drinks and everything, and then they asked the waiter what was his name, and they went, "Oh, that's Oscar Wilde," and it was in a few months building up towards his death, and that kind of stuck Kenneth Branagh. So therefore, for this production, he decided, okay, let's make Mercutio older. Now, in certain moments, it kind of worked, because I liked, as I was saying, to Laura earlier, that the Queen Mab speech, when he's talking about war and destruction and harshness, it's kind of on a level of understanding that I've not thought of before, because, you know, obviously seeing war and such, which a young generation hasn't, that was a great impact. But for everything else, it was a bit weird. Like, when they were at the party, he was the only one who's being really flamboyant. And
Yeah,
it was dancing.
It was almost like the
you're doing
production.
too much.
The production had been made around that story. I would have far preferred Derek Jacobi to have played Friar Lawrence.
Yeah.
Because the actor that played Friar Lawrence, I wasn't really impressed
Yeah,
by.
but
I've got to say,
it didn't help that they cut him down to pretty much nothing.
That's true.
His big moments, his big reactions were taken away from him.
But Derek Jacobi is Derek Jacobi.
Yeah.
Mercutio, in my mind, is a bit player. He's on the side. I couldn't
even though he's flamboyant, if you think about it, he doesn't have many moments.
I couldn't watch Richard Madden sitting next to Derek Jacobi and the guy playing Benvolio.
He wasn't too bad, the guy who played Benvolio.
He was alright. Yeah. But, like, I felt like the production had been built around this story about Oscar Wilde.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's about Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
Which is why, if Jacobi had been Friar Lawrence, that would have worked. Because he is the unifying force, because he marries them. He is the one that puts their ridiculously stupid plan into action. And it kind of makes
more sense also because, you know, with him being older, he's seen the feud begin, basically, or near much seen
I've
it
always
begin,
thought it would be interesting if Mercutio was played by a woman.
Oh, never thought of that before. That
because
would be good.
The end of the Queen Mab speech, when he says that presses them to bear and makes them women of good carriage. I've always thought that was an allusion to rape.
Oh yeah,
it's about rape.
Yeah, because I love how in the Baz Luhrmann one, how that gets played, because he gets really angry and he starts screaming and kicking and punching the air and going.
If Mercutio
wild, doesn't he?
was a woman, I wouldn't necessarily play it like Mercutio is in love with Romeo, because I know that has been brought forth before.
Yeah.
But could be just a girl who has had that kind of experience in her past. Yeah. And her anger at that experience is what fuels her hatred of the Capulets. Yeah. So it could work. It could work like that, which is interesting because it plays into the feud, and it in my head that would work better. Yeah. I do think that casting Derek Jacobi was a mistake. Yeah. But that's just me. That's just my point of view.
Yeah, of course. Other people, you know, I didn't mind him at certain points, but other points I kind of felt like you, where it was a bit odd. Can we also talk about the weird humour in it? Because there was kind of two key moments where there was humour played in one scene that it just felt, this is a big no, you shouldn't be doing this. And what it was is after Romeo's been banished, he's with the friar, he's with Friar Lawrence, and he's, you know, crying, oh, kind of thing. And Mira Sayal comes in, who's playing a nurse. And in this production, she's particularly flirtatious with anyone that moves, basically, isn't she?
Yeah.
And she started hitting on the friar. And it was like, this is not appropriate, regardless of the fact that what's happened with Romeo. Yeah, it's like, you don't hit on the friar. You just don't do it.
The thing that really kind of jarred me about that scene was Romeo's on the floor.
Oh yeah, he's crying.
And she's trying to talk to him, and she's
like because she says, it's something like, I think you should go, you know, because she's trying to say to him, listen, Juliet's upset, that she's okay, you need to do what you need to do. And he just goes, like he's a 5-year-old child being told off.
And I have a 5-year-old child.
And I'm like, everybody in the audience laughed. And I'm like, and it was like, why are we laughing at this really crucial moment?
But it completely broke any tension, of which I have to say there wasn't much, because it was rushed. Yeah. Totally. The production from one end to the other was completely rushed. This is a story about gang warfare.
Yeah.
There was no gang.
Yeah, it was reduced to 3 people because the other people, like, you know, like in the very first scene, you know, you had the bite your thumb at me, sir,
which was done by 2 girls.
Which in this case was done by 2 girls, but they were just 2 girls who were on the street. They weren't actually part of the gangs. No. So it just kind of, so you can see, okay, there's something, that war is there on the streets.
But the nurse is saying, stand up, be a man, stand up, get up.
Yeah.
And he goes, nurse!
Yeah.
And I'm like,
what is that?
What? That's not, no. This is the point where any levity, any hint of comedy is gone. Yeah. After the first act, it's gone. It's done. You do not play those moments in a comedic way because it is a tragedy, and in order for a tragedy to be a tragedy, A, it has to be sad, B, it has to be taken seriously, and C, you know, these moments of, oh, I'm gonna flirt with Frau Lawrence because I'm the nurse and I'm bawdy and this is, I say inappropriate things to a 14-year-old girl. I'm like, no, you, the nurse, her capacity as a character is to be Juliet's mother when she has no mother.
The mother that
she's supposed to be her confidant who betrays her. She's supposed to be a person who makes gross mistakes.
Yeah.
And Mira Sayal, to me, did not convey that at all. No. She was there for the comedic element and not for the serious element.
And it's like there's a character who he gets cut out quite a bit in Romeo and Juliet. You have to admit, in other productions, called Peter.
Oh yeah.
And he basically I loved
it. I loved it.
Peter. I think he's all right character. Basically, he works in like the kitchens. He constantly follows the nurse around, helping her and such. And he's the one who goes to tell those who are coming to the party to come, basically. Gives them their invitations, and he bumps into Romeo, and that's how they learn about it, and they go, you know, and so on and so forth. So Peter has, in a sense, he's quite significant because he basically leads him, he's the person who leads Romeo to the party. But he gets cut out, you know, for various reasons. But in this one, Peter was in it, which I was glad about, but they gender swapped it, so Peter was a girl. Now, Peter, in the show anyway, as a guy, he's quite flamboyant, he's quite loud, he's quite, you know, running around like a headless chicken, he's constantly on the run, you know, he's here, there, and everywhere. And then when they turned it to the girl, she was still the same, but she was very, you know, being very girly around Romeo, he's so gorgeous, and it was like, yeah, you don't need that.
No.
Like, it was, you're forcing it. And the going in and out of Italian was interesting.
Yeah.
Because if Lily... When they got angry, but it was only when they got angry or when they were praying. Do you remember?
Yeah.
It was, but everything else, it was just all of a sudden, 2 characters just start yelling at each other in Italian, and then suddenly you're back to Shakespearean line. That was a bit odd.
And if Lily James and the man who played Lord Capulet,
I can't remember his
name.
I'll put it in the description of the video. So
was here.
Yeah.
Everyone else, well, Richard Madden was about there.
Yeah, it was. Unfortunately,
and
I think it's because it was so rushed. You took away so much from it.
We were like slating this thing. And we actually really
liked it. That's the thing. But I think it's because we love Shakespeare so much. We're very picky about it. But there's some things that you can't help notice.
Even if you have Lily James, Richard Madden, Derek Jacobi, and Kenneth Branagh attached to something, I don't think it's a bad thing to have very high expectations.
No.
I think because I've always loved Kenneth Branagh.
Me too.
I think Kenneth Branagh is just, well, he's phenomenal. He is part of the reason why I started to love Shakespeare was because I watched Much Ado About Nothing when I was 14, and that kind of, I was
that's
like
our favourite Shakespeare.
It is. I think it is actually one of my
amazing adaptation.
Absolute favourite Shakespeare films.
Yeah.
So for it to fall short of my expectations could be expected.
Yeah.
But I wanted to cry. I wanted to be overwhelmed by the feeling of it. And I think the setting of it is part of the reason why I didn't. Because as much as I get the whole 1950s Fellini thing,
yeah,
I don't need it to be so stylized.
Yeah, it didn't help either. Obviously, in the cinema, they filmed it in high def black and white.
Killer for the eyes.
Yeah, when you're in the dark and you've got that, it was just like, I feel like your eyes were nearly starting to stream, wasn't it?
They were.
And then when the lights came on, obviously they left the camera on the audience for the 20-minute interval.
Mm-hmm.
So and it was obviously still in black and white. So when the lights were on, it felt totally fine. My eyes went back to normal. I was like, all right, I can breathe again. And then they turned the lights out for the second half. I was like, oh my God.
It looks very beautiful.
It looks beautiful. It was stunning, but it was really hard on the eyes, which didn't help the situation.
And I think as well, it was uneven because the anger in the feud has to match the love.
Oh, yeah.
And it didn't.
Yeah.
Tybalt was just...
Yeah, Tybalt was
all the time,
like mad dog.
He didn't have any, like the party scene when Lord Capulet tells him to basically shut up and leave.
Yeah.
Well, I've always loved the way that John Leguizamo does that in Romeo and Juliet, in Baz Luhrmann's, because he's furious.
Yeah.
But he keeps himself together.
Yeah.
And when he vows that Romeo is going to pay for being there, you know he means it.
Yeah.
This gentleman was just shouting.
Yeah, he was like a dog on heat.
He really was just like a dog on heat. Not quite like that.
No, you know what I mean. Yeah. Just that harshness. But it was. One thing that did annoy me about that, you didn't get his relationship with Lady Capulet at all.
No.
So when he died, Lady Capulet went like insane when he died. Like she went really off the ball, didn't she?
Lady Capulet actually has one of the better roles in the play.
Oh yeah,
because
totally.
Because
Lady Montague dies in the end. Yeah,
from the Baz Luhrmann,
that's it. She's done.
From the Baz Luhrmann film, the actress that played Lady Capulet, I understood Lady Capulet had married him very young. She had been abused. She was an alcoholic. She was a drug addict. She was
flamboyant to cover up the
She was someone who was having an affair with her nephew. Yeah. She was someone who was so empty and hollow as a human being that she couldn't, or someone who had been so abused by this patriarchal monster that is Lord Capulet, that for Juliet to refuse to marry Paris, she turns her back on Juliet, not because she's angry with Juliet, but because it's so damn painful to see her daughter relive the history that she has just lived, that she would rather say, I'm done with thee.
Yeah.
Because I can't
go there.
I can't watch it.
Yeah.
If you don't marry this man, we're done.
Yeah. And it's really sad. It's really tragic.
It is tragic, and I completely get that.
And that's shot
the shot at Romeo and Juliet's funeral, or Juliet's funeral, and you can see this woman has nothing left.
Yeah,
it's all gone.
Yeah,
she's just an empty shell, and I did not get that from Lady Capulet.
No,
at all.
But again, they kind of took these roles and stretched them apart. It just, like, let's just keep going. It just...
But I loved it!
It's really hard, isn't it, to be this critical and this negative, but then go, but I really liked it. It was... It's so weird.
Lily James, though,
Yeah,
Damn.
I quite liked that, you know, obviously she's playing a 14-year-old. She knows she's playing 14, and she plays it like a 14-year-old, but she's a bit of a smarter 14 in regards to that. She's not being the ditzy, oh, I love him, kind of moment sort of thing. She was doing that to a degree, but when the serious stuff happened, she was like, right, this is my destiny now. This is my path. I'm gonna go down that path.
She acted the grief of it very well.
Yeah.
As well, because you know, Juliet has no control over anything.
Oh no. Not in the slightest.
So her committing suicide next to Romeo is really the only act of control she has over anything. Other than marrying Romeo and killing herself, that is it. That is all the control she has.
Yeah.
But no, Lily James, I didn't know she could do that.
No, nor did I. And I think
she's been confined to playing very pretty women. Yeah. If you think about it, she's done. She did Downton Abbey, Cinderella, War and Peace. They're all very pretty women.
Yeah.
And Juliet is the archetype of pretty woman. But if you think about it,
she did show kind of depth in that kind of sort of, you know, not the same amount of depth, but, you know, a shift from a child to an adult in War and Peace.
She did.
It was on a different level than Juliet.
It was, you know, and it was in a much longer...
Oh, yeah, because he had, 8 hours or something, wasn't it? In the end, it was about 8 episodes or something.
6.
Oh, 6 episodes, sorry. So 6 hours. So you had more of a time to show that.
Have we really been talking about this for 21 minutes?
We have been talking for 21 minutes, so do you think we should stop there?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to stop then.
I really loved it. I really loved it. Again, this is what happens because I'm a fan of Outlander and Poldark and lots of other things that you know and you love. And the key to it is managing your expectations.
Oh, yeah.
I think I went in wanting this to be the best Romeo and Juliet I've ever seen. And it wasn't. It was a very, very good one, but not the best ever.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, the
gist of it. Yeah. So, even though we've been really quite critical about it, we really liked it.
We loved it, Ken, promise.
Yeah, we really did. Really liked it. You know, it was interesting choices. Let's put it that way. Okay, right, we're going to stop there. So, so Laura, thank you so much for being in this video.
All right, sis.
And maybe we should do another one of these another time, whenever we're able to get together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or we could just do another one now about something else.
Do you think we should do another one now? I think yes. Let's do another one now. All right then. So anyway, I'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.